That is one of the best looking consists I have seen in a long time. The universe decided to throw me a bone today. Apparently the East Coast is under a heat wave and the West Coast is burning up. Got a fire going on all over the place. We've been getting rain all day and the temperature is about 51 degrees. Whoa. So can't do any work outside. Sit down, let's make a video. I've got some amazing Varney HO stuff sent in from Frank O'Connor down there in Florida. Big box showed up. Whole thing was packed full of Varney stuff. Let me show it to you here real quick. Bunch of pieces, parts. Look at this beautiful thing. All original. Coming in out of Miami, Florida. Look, oh my goodness. This is an interesting box. The Florida, what does that say? Florida East Coast. Yeah. Nice set here. Nice set indeed. Now, it doesn't have a transformer, and it says it's got 14 sections of track. I've only counted 12. I don't know where it would have went. But yeah, this was part of the donation. And then another thing was this Arnold Rapido, just a little N-gauge, European. Tiny. Look at this. I mean, the couplers are bigger than that dang car. So we got another N-gauge that we can bust into shape. I don't get too much N-gauge stuff donated to the channel, so I never have much N to work on. Well, I don't want to mess with that set because it's beautiful, and we'll mess with it sooner or later. But right now, if I see something that's taken apart and it's just in a big pile of parts, I want in it. I want right in the middle of it and see what I can make. So let's get on the bag, the parts and stuff, and see what we could turn that into. Well, here's what's come out of all the bags. A couple frames that are intact. And then I see that here's the side pieces right here, which looks just like these, and this, and this. And this is telling me that some zinc pest has gotten into it. These little pieces, yeah, this frame, one of these frames is just gone. That's too bad. That is too bad. So we'll root all that stuff the heck out of there. Get down to the parts. What do we have? Wow, frame like exploded. Now this is a cast, and this piece is kind of supposed to come out. Sometimes they get stuck in there. This one, Varney. Plastic, but these two here, my gird. Look how nice they look. And what I was thinking, we obviously got to get this going, and this is a dummy. But what if we could find some more parts and make another powered A and another powered B or something? Here's one truck. Now there's parts on it. Sticking to the magnets. Looks like it's complete. It's got the mounting. It's got the place for the drive line coming out of the front here. And then here's another truck. Here's a drive line. Here's a drive line that's going to hook into this. Here's some truck side frames. Some more. This is a front bolster for something. This frame is different than this frame. And this must be their super weighted. This one's round at all sides. Kind of like this. Wow, that's weird. You know what we need to do is we need to go into HO Seeker. And we need to get some blueprints. Not blueprints, but what do these things look like? So that way we can put the right pieces with the right stuff. And I'd know what this is and what that is. What is this? It's got word on it. And I can't. Varney. Well, that's a something. Is this... Oh, this is a newer... Sure, that's the bottom cover for a newer truck here. Oh, here's another one. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely there's things that could be made here. I want to get these going. Oh, they're gorgeous. First thing we're going to do, take these to the sink with a toothbrush. Some Dawn dish soap. Oh, yeah, they are going to clean up. Very nice. Well, you can kind of see my process of working on things, of talking my way through it, and just nothing, the stuff wasn't lining up like I'd expected it to. So we went to HO Seeker and went into the Varney section, And here's the schematics that I found. 51, it's got a different design than 1952. That's got a different design. That's got a different design compared to the belt drive stuff. And after looking at all this stuff and looking at this A.C.L, and that's when I realized that the shell is not held onto the chassis with the big screw like the cast ones. This one here, the shell pops onto the chassis kind of like an Athearn blue box. So this is what we did. I did a little research. Come to find out, Varney, between 1945 and 49, they made the die-cast F3, Zymac, pressure, Play-Doh Fun Factory stuff. The powered units were either available in dual truck drive or single truck drive. They also made dummy A's and dummy B's with this Zymac die-cast metal stuff. These were all driven by a 5-pole Pitman motor. It was the old DC-60. Now, a lot of them were 3-pole back in the day. 5 poles, it's 2 more better, twice as better. In my book, be even better if it was skew round, but you know, that was a little early for the 50s. These die-cast, they were on top of their game. They had a lot of details that no other companies offered. Mantua Metalworks, they had some nice ones also. So Varney, Mantua, back in the 50s, early 60s, they were the ones to own if you wanted the top of the line. American-made HO metal trains, locomotives. These kits, these powered kits ran $19.75 back in 1945. The dummy sets, they ran $7.50. Everybody wants to cry baby about how expensive it is to be in model railroading right now. If we adjust these for inflation, it's going to be $260.62 in today's money for that powered locomotive, and $98.97 for the dummy, adjusted for inflation. So you see, it's cheap. It's cheaper to be doing model railroading nowadays than it is back then, because we make more money nowadays than we did back then too. Yeah. 1955 is when Varney switched over from doing the Zymac cast metal into the, what do they call it? Special impact polystyrene plastic molded bodies. Oh, 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 oh. And it's got a new drive in it. It's got the nylon gear with the worm drives in it, which is supposed to last better and be quieter than the brass ones. Well, we all know that plastic and nylon last longer than metal and brass. Kind of come up with this unbelievable. Why do these guys sit around and think that they can just make stuff out of plastic and then try to convince us that it's going to be better? It's never better when it's made out of plastic than when it's made out of metal. It should always be made out of just under. Oh, God. That's better. Now, you know, Varney was founded in 1936 out of Chicago, Illinois. 1955, they moved the production of their head shed down to Miami, Florida. This is how you can kind of date your Varney to see where and who and where it's being made, who's got it and stuff like that. 1960, Varney was sold to Lifelike, but Lifelike didn't change the name of Varney until 1970. So if you've got something that says Varney out of Baltimore, Maryland, that's owned by Saul Kramer, who owns Lifelike. And he just hasn't changed the name over yet. He didn't change the name Varney to Lifelike until 1970. Things that I'm working on, I still don't know what era they are. The big set that was sent in to me, the beautiful Varney Fast Straight set, well, it's got a Miami, Florida address on it. So I know it's somewhere between 1955 and 1960. These A.C.Ls, I believe they're from the same time frame also from what I found in the catalogs. I believe they were introduced in 1957, the A.C.Ls, because here is the first picture I see of it in the 1957 catalog. And then I don't believe it was available much after 1962, because this was the last catalog that I could find it in, was 62s. So once I realized I didn't have all the parts I needed to put together this A.C.L powered unit, I had to go searching around. So I got on the eBay. I found these two right here up for auction. It's got a damaged shell on it. the guy also had make an offer. So I did. He sold it to me before the auction was done because nobody else wanted it. I guess I'm the only one. Shipped it up to me. Here we are. So now we've got parts and options to get these A.C.Ls running. Let's get back into it. Have you ever seen anybody take so long to walk around the barn? Here is the one that just showed up from the eBay. And big clunk right there, which is too bad. But it does make good parts. And we see there's still differences in all these things. And the B unit showed up missing a set of trucks and some wheels. But that's fine because these other wheel covers that I happen to have extra ones laying around, they just fit. They fit on the motors and they fit as the non-powered trucks. So we're definitely going to have 2 unpowered B units by the time it's all said and done. It'd be nice to have a couple powered A's or make a dummy A. This one, it really took a hit. How in Lord's, this is supposed to be special high impact polystyrene plastic. Now it's down to a chassis donation and some ladders we're gonna saw off of it, glue them over here. This is our original motor, and it's got this thing here that rotates back and forth like the bolster pin. Here's one set up in there. This one doesn't use it because it's molded into the frame. Just lots of little differences. This guy here we can't do much with. This is the older style chassis that uses the main bolt that bolts the body on. I want to get these truck covers out of the way. They are held on. Just pry them off. They sit on here on the axles of the wheels, and they've got little holes inside there. You can get those out of the way. Then we can dig this out. And we can start our reconditioning. Finally. It was the longest intro in the history of intros. Did I just lose that little nut? Unbelievable. It's probably stuck to the motor somewhere. This little guy right there. I didn't hear it hit the floor, so it can't be too far away. We've got the light bulb. Oh, that light bulb it has seen better days. We'll just get it out of there. All the insulation is gone off the wires. Little tiny grain of wheat. Here's a little nut right there. One. The other one here, yep, hanging out there. I knew they'd show up. This guy's got the coupler mounted on the bottom of the truck, just like this one. Pull these screws out. 2 different ones, of course. Why wouldn't they be? After all these years, wheels. Here's that plastic driveline C-clip holding it on back here in the back. I like to call these Jesus clips because when they shoot across the room, you go, ah, Jesus. There he is right there. And that's going to allow this worm gear, the nylon super duper life expectancy, to roll out of there. Liars. Oop. There's a screw right down here holding this truck on. So there's our DC 70, 90, 22, 8. It's kind of scubby, I got to tell you. Take these brushes out. When I get down and clean that armature, but do they have solder? Yeah, they've got solder all over them, so they're probably not going to want to come out. Take this screw off right here. Can we take the brush holder off? Now I did it. I really did it. I rolled that brush right off of that. I didn't open it up because the spring, the way that this is, dang it. Dang it, dang it. So I suppose the best thing to do would be to desolder all that off there. And I don't believe you can solder these on. Not that I won't try, because I'm not going to lose anything if I fail. We're going to take this out of the back. Get this super duper magnet out of there. Oh, they mean it, but I think it was okay. This is a wick to keep the armature lubricated up well right there. I should be able to open this up. Do I want to try that hard? I don't know if I do. I believe it's all swedged together. The Japanese engineers, yeah. Some of these you can just kind of pop and they just transformer right open. This one here, we will Q-tip it, mineral spirits. I'm going to take the brush on the Dremel, get the rust off those parts right there. It just seems to make sense. They didn't come from the factory with the rust on them. We got this one here to look at, and I'm just willing to bet I can take this apart, get this guy out of there. I can mount it in this chassis. What does this front one look like though? Because it's got a real offset mounting for this front truck. See what they've done to us though? This one's back a little more than this one. Why, God? Why? So if you put this one centered in on that, the truck won't fit up underneath here. Let's get to cleaning this up though. Let's get something running. At least one, for sure. As cleaning up these trucks, this one here, working it with the old Q-tips and the mineral spirits, and the axles don't. One does, kind of. It's not very well. And then the front one does, one don't. So I'm going to throw these in the ultrasonic because that'll definitely help break whatever's going on in there and get them loosened up. I'll keep cleaning all this stuff up gently by hand, but these are going to have to need a to get them to do what we want them to do. So there's that brush and that brush holder there. We don't have that kind of spare parts to just let something like this just happen. So we're going to put a little flux. I clean this all up with the mineral spirits, flux it. And then the back of the brush here, we're going to tin up this part of the brush holder. Yes. Oh, what's going to happen? Sure sizzled. Yeah, I'll take that. Use some mineral spirits and clear it up. Is it completely in the right exact spot again? No. I'm just hoping that it'll break in. Plus, I just saved that brush. If I could just go and buy extras, I would have done that. Preferred to have done that. In case you're wondering, hey, how is it that that brush holder doesn't short out because it's one big piece holding the tension on both these brushes? This one here's got an insulative tube right down through there, which is insulating these two away from each other so it doesn't short out. Clean all these guys up. Any grease and oil. Somebody once mentioned that you can take a crack torch and you warm up these brushes and it boils all the oil out of them. They said it's an old slot car trick. Has anybody else ever heard of that? Warm them up, or even maybe a lighter, you can just and heat them up and burn out the oils. It's like, yeah, I wouldn't mind trying that if I had a bunch of spare brushes, but I don't. But if that's something that you've ever done with huge success back in the day, let me know down in the comments so we can spread this data around, this good information, I like to call it. Fiberglass pencil. Get down here on the commutators and shine them up. They don't stay that way, but I guess you just feel good about it the first time you do it. When they're run all the time, the brushes keep them pretty clean. This just happens when it sits around, and then the copper does what copper does. Oxidize, tarnish. Put a little love up in here, little touch, tiny taste. Just a little bit less than too much. Put it back in there. You can just tell. It just quiets right down. This screw here, this hole, it's going to go down like this. That's how you can tell what's the top, what's the bottom. One of these axles is stiff, but it spins. And one is jammed up. I mean, I can barely get it to spin. It's like, what is going on? Did the Zamek swell up on the axle? We don't know. I was able to get in there and pry the wheel out a little bit. These are, they're bad. I'm not sure if corrosion is in there from the dissimilar metals. This one back here was seized up real bad, and I've done a little surgery in the ultrasonic tank a couple times, and it's better. Somehow I managed to bend this axle. I'll have to try to true that up. But whew, These guys are mad. They don't want to go back to work. They've been retired all this time. They're just Hook the old transformer, run up to this wire here, one up to the ground. Twist the wick. So we got this motor working. Sure. Sure. These trucks, I finally got them all, they're all spinning like a dream now. We've got to check these wipers for continuity. So we're going to go into horseshoe mode. Of course, they're on a metal axle. What are the wipers doing? Honest. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. They're on a metal axle in a Zymac thing. Psh, okay. Yeah, just, nah. No sense whatsoever. But we are getting the juices going through there. I've oiled these up once, and then I was using the wheel of the zzz and spinning it to get it to free up more. So I didn't have to go like this for 6 hours. So they've been oiled once, but you know, we just go here. I think the grease that was in them probably got all hardened up. So this is gonna go like this. This is gonna go on like this. And then we need to bolt it down. Carefully screw it in. It feels like it's trying to cross thread. I think I put it on the wrong truck, because this truck, it's got this pad right here, and this truck don't. All the little differences that you just don't notice till it's time to be important. So we can do this all again. So there's that assembled. Take this little feller. We need to screw him in like so. Put one of these silly clips on. It doesn't even feel like metal. It feels like some fiber washer combo. Time for the super lube. We got a lot of this to grease too. Here. So put a little grease on, roll it. Put a little grease on, roll it. Put a little grease on, roll it. That is looking good. Oh, this one's still got, it's even got a working coupler on it. Can't believe it. Put these little guys in. They look like this with the countersunk head on them. So that is one assembled power truck. We'll wait till the very end before I grease these, just so I don't track it all over the place. One frame, so we're going to take these little tiny screws, these little screws, these little nuts, and bolt it into the frame. I think about that magnet being in there is when you drop something, it never really drops. It just goes to the motor and sticks. It's kind of interesting. The truck covers that have a hole in the center of them are for the dummies. And the truck covers that don't have a hole for them are for the powered ones. These little screwdriver, these guys down here, they get, see how it's, see if we can tighten these up some. Bend them like this. God, I don't know. I want to tighten up these screws so they don't fall out. It's only been 80 years since they've been put in. Yes, that's better. These are ultrasonic, so they're all ready to be all clean and shiny. Line them up and get the holes where they need to be. So the truck is sticking out like this. This isn't on far enough. So it's got to go up one more hole. There it is, right there. Yep, everybody's turning. So now we got to do that with the front truck. Put it together. Same basic principle. Screw it in. I could have this longer one right here. Screw it in up in the front. Put the drive line in, grease it all up. Oh, this is going to be the bad part. How in Lord's name am I going to put that drive line in? I might have to take this back motor out, get the drive line in, and then bolt it in, because this has got to stay. 27th time of taking this apart. This is the wire, the motor wire, and the motor is grounded to this rear truck, so it needs to pick up juice from the front truck. Front truck is isolated from the chassis due to this part right here holding the screw in. This little feller here, he was broken off when I got to it, dangling. So we're going to solder him on, and the best I could tell, because this was all falling apart, you know, when I got it, it's going to ride right in here. These holes are for lubricating up your little worm gear bushings inside there. So we can pull this out, put the screw in, motor's loose so we can put the drive line in. You can't tighten this up too tight or else the truck won't do its thing. Jesus clip it, drive line it. Yes. Put the bolt back in, little nut it, tighten both of these up, and then we're going to take this little guy and plug him in right down in there. Let's get a little bit of super lube on our gears right here. So get that cover on, 2 little screws like that, and we're going to be ready to test it. Smooth. Oh, quiet? Man, can't even hardly hear it. It needs a little run-in, a little bite, grinder in. That's what it sounds like taking place. Oof. Oh, of course I didn't have to give it a nudge. Well, a little bit of this back and forth that might help her out. This is what we're pulling for the juices. Oh. See how it coasts? It comes to a nice gentle stop. Yeah. Oh, alrighty, well, we'll try this for a little while. Here we are at the end of day 1. I got those responsibilities to knock out. We've been banging around doing this now for like all day, 6-7 hours. But I did other things. Now I got enough parts to take this one and turn it into a rolling dummy. I just took the worm gear drive shafts out of there. This isn't doing anything, but you got to have the motor on it in order to put it in the frame. Dummies, they got their trucks on them. Everything's been cleaned up. Everything's been shiny. We know this runs. It's loud, but it runs. But now I got to work on couplers. We got XFs here, nothing. Oh, now we got to weight these properly too. They weigh about as much as a fart. Get couplers on all these. We're probably going to end with 1 KD over here because I don't have very many KDs. I need to order them. And I think we're going to tug around that shiny set right up there, and I know it's got KDs. That'll make it look real nice with an A, B, B, A. Oh, yeah. We're on to making some custom couplers on this thing. I've been working on these B units. They're almost all done. But I figured out a way to make them really, really close. And I've got this A unit back here, this dummy, and I've modified it to couple up quite close as well. And I'm going to show you what I did to make these super, super close and make it more prototypical. This one, if the body was on, it would be, it's close too. Yeah, we got to leave it off so I can show you what I did. These dummies have a completely different coupler pocket on them than the locomotives do. I've actually got a long shank sitting on this end. The reason I did that is because I've got them. And the fact that I'm going to saw off this box right here, this coupler, and we're going to put a whole new one on it. These 242s, I ain't ran into nothing I can't use these on. I've put more couplers on things using this box as a base. It looks like this when it's said and done. I like the 143 Whisker Shorts, and I've got one because I'm irresponsible. Somehow I was rooting around and I found this right here, this number 34 set, and these have got short shanks in it. Oh, underset shank. No wonder it was throwing off on that one. I couldn't quite figure it out. But since they don't have whiskers on them, you got to use this little spring right here to get them to do their thing. We're using these little short guys on the locos, and we're using the longs, 146 whisker longs, and the 242 boxes on these. This one's done. It's properly weighted. We'll get him out of the way. I'm going to take the truck off. I am going to saw this off right here. Straight, square, flush. And I've measured the heck out of it with this. And then on the other ones, when I was testing it, I set it up on this with my height gauge, and the other truck was on it to test it. So I know I'm going to leave about 3/16 of an inch on this when it's all said and done. This right here is how much we sawed off. This is what's left. File, clean up all these edges, and then I'm going to take a flat file and make sure that it's flush here. I got a collection of bread clips, and they are different thicknesses when you collect them long enough. So I'm going to make a square that's going to go right there. We're going to cut this down, size it, little big still. I don't want it hanging out. Yes, 242 whisker long shank. I'm going to glue it with this upper one, like so it's going to be in like this. Put the lid on with the word Katie sticking out. Pops together. Cut the tree, this little silliness off right there. This little catch that's right here, it's going to go right there. We're going to glue it on like that, and we're going to use this an old timer that came into the hobby shop when I worked there told me about this. Oh, it's the best glue I've ever seen. It gets with it. That. We're going to put this right on top. We're going to put another coat of this nice glue. We're going to put the box on. Make sure it's all straight, and it's pretty much done now. It's welded. I'm going to drill this hole out with a 1/16 inch drill bit, or use the number 50 out of this set right here. We're going to drill it and we're going to tap it. 256 by quarters. Now what this is going to do is it's going to allow us to take that cover off if we ever want to change a coupler out, but the box is glued to the plastic. Once this all sets up, it's going to be exactly what the doctor ordered. Put the chuck back on. This is my scale, seeing how much you have to weigh it, and also for chuck height. Yes. And that's way high. What? Good Lord. I blew it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put another shim in there, or a thicker shim, because I sawed off too much there because I got cocky. Got that whooped into shape. Now we need to check the weight, because these things are super light. Get the body on it. We're 2.1. With the body, we're 3.6. And we need to be 4.5. You can get weights like this at the Amazon. And we're just going to keep throwing them on until we get what we want. There it is. So I needed to add an ounce of weight to it to bring it up to specs. Couplers are on it. Things properly weighted. This is cleaned up. We'll go to the next one because the couplers are a little different on the locomotives. Now with this dummy, I just omitted the motor off of it and put a nut right there. Put a little CA on it because it made more sense. The front pocket, you see, I cut it completely off. And then I just put in a short one of these. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it off right here. And then there'll be a piece of metal there that I drill and tap, and then I bolt this feller on it. But I'm going to do this outside because it makes a mess. I'm going to come this way first and cut all this off, and then you see how there's a couple lips there that make the pocket. Then I'm going to grind those off, and then you'll still be able to see this little thing right there when I'm all said and done, and that's where I'm going to drill and tap it. So now we come up with this. I'm going to sit here very carefully with my drill, and we're going to drill straight down. Of course, you can't see it because the drill's in the way. Well, I started good, and then without no drill press, I came off a little crooked there. But it's still going to get the job done. We only need to go in there just a little bit. Zamic is a real soft metal, and it plugs up the cutters a little bit. So we're going to tap it in, back it out every little bit, break the chips off. After a while, you can tell that it kind of gets plugged. Pull it out, clean it, start again. I think I'm in there enough now just to get that bolt in. I'm just trial fitting this. This is the first front that I've ever done. Oh, that's right in the way of the truck because of this thing hanging out In these trucks, you can cut these ends off of these little boxes by about 1/8 of an inch, and they're still going to be all right. I ended up putting a 148 standard in there with a whisker. So I think the shell hangs out a little bit farther. This is our dummy shell with the broken front end on it. Yep. So short shank here and a standard here because the front end sticks out just a little farther. And that's making that look pretty good, except for that, but we'll get past that. Now all we got left is our original power unit. So we got to get rid of the rivet that's on there. So there's the original. That hole is huge. So we need that bushing right there. I think that if I take this and kind of turn it into a top plate by cutting off these sides, and then we use just a little bolt on it, we'll have that Katy in there. Well, oddly enough, that worked out real well. Made a little box, holds that on there. Just put a little nut on the back of that 256. The body's going to cover that up. We'll never see it. I wonder how it is for coupler height. Wow. Yep. That's a standard that I put in there because I've got a bunch of those. I think I'll do the same up here. Drill that out and make a box and have another Katy up on the front. Put a grain of wheat incandescent in her. Yep. About ready to put this whole thing on the track. Well, with a little creativeness, a couple different size couplers, we've got them all hooked up. They are nice and tight. I like this one the most. It's just, this is the dummy. And then this coupler here has got the metal and it's stuck out way out. So I put a short under here so it can get a little tighter. Time to get some cars down. Coupled all, oh yeah, first time. They've all been hooked up. Varney's advertisement stated that this one dual drive could pull 15 cars. So these are, 3 dummies plus 4, so there's 7. As a preliminary, just as, wait. Sure had better ideas. Noisy? Oh, she's slipping. She needs more weight. That's too bad. That corner was just too much for it. We're gonna lose this fella right here because this is that dummy. Well, the one that's it's really heavy, but it doesn't drive, so it's not doing us any good. It's way overweight. And this, it's doing this a lot better. We got one heck of a dead spot right there. I can't back up anymore. Yeah. Yep. Need a better dummy chassis. Oh, she's still slipping a little bit. Not as much weight as I had hoped for. I stacked some extra weights on this to get her more. We got 2 under there, 3 up here, so we got 1.25 ounces, and I put 3 up there in the shell, so we've added 2 ounces. So what is it even weighing in at now? Not even a pound. I can't think of any place else to put. I can't get any more weight in there. It's full. Let's see if this helped it pull a little bit better. Well, let's see how she's gonna do this time. Give her the old onion here. Yeah, everybody's there. A little bit better. Of course, there's no creep speed whatsoever. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. Beautiful. Beautiful. I think that's gonna be the thumbnail picture right there. Just something to do. It's a little different. Oh, couple of long days working on this one. Holy moly. And even a lot of stuff. It's so pretty. It's really nice. It doesn't perform very well though for them Varneys. I think I prefer the brass geared ones a little better than the plastic ones. I got a spot picked out for her. We're going to put it right up over. I'm going to get a B unit over here. And then we're going to line up these guys and we're going to have ABBAs up there. Something different to do, I guess. Thanks so much for sticking around with me. This has been a long, long video. Again, glad to see all the 33%ers out there still with us. I'm Ron with Classic Model Trains. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.